Mama, I ask you again, what have you done? There is a list of over 3,000 names of children, their parents, addresses, and the hospitals they were born. What did you do to these children? Speak now, else I will kill you myself, Kayode said. My son, eh, Madame Tolu stammered. Mama, talk or I will kill you. I will kill you. Kayode shouted, raising the cutlass in his hand very high. I will confess. Please don't kill me. Please, my son, calm down. I promise I will confess. Please put that knife down, please. Madame Tolu said, crying and looking very afraid. I never intended to hurt anyone, my son. Yes, I know I have wronged a lot of children and their parents in the past, in the days of my foolishness. But I thought that after I had given my life to Christ and asked for forgiveness, that He had forgiven me and that my sins had been washed away and that there would be no repercussions. I never knew that my actions would hurt you. I thought that being tormented every night and being beaten and chased around by these children was enough punishment. I never knew that you would have to pay for my own sins. I'm sorry, Kayode. I really am, Kayode's mother said, crying. Mama, please just tell me the truth. Do not leave anything out. I can handle it. I want to hear what happened from the beginning, Kayode said, sitting beside his mother. Okay, my son, I will. It all started many years ago, when I was very little. I was only 6 years old when I realized that my life was very different. I grew up in an orphanage home and life was very difficult for me. The woman who was our foster mother, Madame Gagu, treated us like dogs. She barely fed us, and even when she did, she gave us very little food, and we all had to fight for food amongst ourselves. She would also always flog us at any slightest provocation and tell us that we were useless and would never amount to anything in life. The only time we ever ate good food was whenever she knew that people were coming to visit or donate foodstuffs and money, most of which she even diverted for her personal use or sold and kept back the money. So she would feed us well anytime we had visitors, so that we would all look presentable, and she would warn us that if any of us reported her to the visitors, that she was not treating us well, that she would deal with us. I remember my friend Chioma. Chioma was very bold, and despite Madame Gagu's warnings, she kept on reporting her to visitors. And each time Madame Gagu found out, she would beat her and lock her up in a dark room for days without giving her food. But after a while, after she was released, Chioma would still report her again. Yet, none of the people Chioma reported to ever did anything to save us from the hands of our foster mother, Madame Gagu. And that was the day that I knew that no one was going to save us, and that my only way out of this misery was if I ever got adopted. So any day some rich person or couple who didn't have children would come to the orphanage to inspect us, so they would decide which of the children to adopt before they began the paperwork. I would not eat for a full day, so I could just fast and pray and beg God that they should please pick me. I would smile and be very respectful, yet they never chose me. I remember crying myself to sleep every night, every time an intending foster parent came to adopt a child. Kayode, I suffered though. Life was very difficult growing up with Madam Gago. And when I finally clocked 13 years old, I realized that nobody was ever going to adopt me again. Most of the intending parents who wanted to adopt were adopting younger children. So I decided to put in my best and focus my energy on my education to make sure that I do very well academically. I attended a government school alongside the other children in our orphanage. And although it was free, it was a very good school. And the children of the rich men and women, businessmen, politicians, all attended the school as well. And despite the fact that I kept to myself, focusing on my education and studying really hard, some of my classmates, specifically Amina, Suliyat, and Chisom, who were daughters of politicians and top businessmen, always looked for my trouble. They would look for me during break time and even after close of school hours, and would taunt me and make fun of me, calling me orphan girl. Ha ha ha! See how you look so dejected. Nobody wants you, nobody loves you, you ain't nobody. They would all laugh at me and make mockery of me every single day. And I became very scared of going to school. I just wanted to be left alone, to focus on my studies so I could have a higher chance of having a better life. But they would not let me be. I did not want to be friends with them, yet they would not leave me alone. And they kept on tormenting me. And despite the fact that I reported them to our principal, he could not do anything to them because their parents were very influential and he was scared of losing his job. So I was not only tormented and maltreated at home by my foster mother, Madam Gago, but I was still tormented by my classmates, Amina, Suliyat, and Chisom. I literally had no peace of mind and would always cry myself to bed every night, as that was the only time I found peace whenever I slept. I began to slowly lose my self-esteem, and things continued like this for me for several years. I couldn't wait to graduate from secondary school and possibly run away from my foster home. I was tired, but the day that I knew that I had gotten to my breaking point and that I could never forgive Sulia, Chisom, or Amina was on our award-giving ceremony day. I had graduated as the best from my secondary school, and I was supposed to receive the award for the best graduating students in the whole school. But I was very shocked to see that my award was presented to Chisom instead, simply because her father was very wealthy. I stood there weeping and crying. And after that award ceremony, I was later called privately into the principal's office, and I was awarded with a full scholarship to study any course of my choice in a Nigerian university. And that was how I ended up going to the university to study nursing and became a registered nurse. But the pain that I felt that day never truly left me. I carried it in my heart everywhere I went for so many years. I memorized the faces of my bully, Chisom, Suliyat, and Amina. Until this day, their faces are still fresh in my memory. I remember everything they did to me in school and how finally Chisom took my award simply because her father was rich. I had thought of several ways to hurt them back and pay them for everything they had done to me. But there was no way I could do that because immediately after we graduated from secondary school, their parents flew them abroad for their university education, while I stayed back in Nigeria to study nursing. A few years after I had graduated, I got a very good job at a very big hospital in Lagos, where I worked as a nurse. My life was beginning to have some meaning at last. And it was my fourth year while I was working there that I met your father. I was in love with him and was so happy that I could finally build a beautiful life and forget the trauma and pain that I had gone through. However, when I fell pregnant, your father abandoned me. He said he could not marry me, that I was an orphan, and this plunged me further into depression. I began to think of my life, and I realized that no one really wanted me. Not my parents, not my foster mother, not even my classmates, and now not even your father. I was so heartbroken. So I decided I was never going to fall in love again. Instead, I was going to focus on raising you and excelling at my job. And over the years, I took my career very seriously and I got promoted very frequently. And soon enough, I became the chief midwife at my hospital. I continued to work very hard. And because I was very good at my job, every pregnant woman wanted me to deliver their baby because they knew that they would have no tears due to my expertise if I helped them deliver their baby. I continued to work very hard and put in my best and was admired by everyone, from my chief medical director to patients to nurses to every single person. My life was beginning to have a meaning finally. But everything changed one certain day. I was at work when a pregnant woman was rushed into the hospital. She was in labor, and just one look at her, I recognized her. It was Chisom, one of the girls that had bullied me and made my secondary school days a living hell. I just remembered everything that she had done to me and how her and her other friends had made my life unbearable. As I looked at her, it was as though I was reliving everything that they had done. And for a moment, I was terrified. Then I was consumed by anger. I was so angry. And when I approached her angrily, wanting to confront her, I realized that she could not recognize me. She was now even a big woman, and her husband was a commissioner. I was tasked to personally handle the delivery of her child. She had given birth to a beautiful baby girl, yet she did not still recognize me. I thought of ways to make her pay for all the years of misery she and her friends had put me through. At some point, I even thought of killing her during delivery, but I could not. So I came up with a better plan, a beautiful idea to deal with her instead of killing her. So I decided to switch her daughter. I felt it was a great way to not only punish her for what she did in the past, but I also thought that I was saving the little girl from being brought up by an evil woman. So I switched Chisom's baby when she was asleep for that of a mad woman who had been brought into the hospital and had also given birth to a baby girl that same day. So I handed over the baby of the mad woman to Chisom as though it was her own baby. Then took Chisom's baby to the children's ward, waiting for social service because we had called them to come and collect the mad woman's baby. So after a few hours, social service came and picked up the baby, thinking that it was the mad woman's baby, not knowing that it was Chisom's baby, to put in an orphanage home. While Chisom, on the other hand, went home with the mad woman's baby, thinking that it was her own baby. Kayode, I felt so happy. I danced and rejoiced. I had never felt so vindicated in my lifetime. For the first time, justice was being served. I felt very good. I had done something good and I had given the daughter of a mad woman a chance at a better life and had subjected Chisom's daughter to suffer the same fate as I did while growing up. I thought that I was going to do that only once, but I was wrong. I started feeling a sense of justice for the poor anytime I see a very poor or wretched woman who gives birth. I would steal her child, then hand over her baby to a rich woman as though it was the rich woman's baby. In my mind, I was only saving the poor children from the life of misery that I had lived. Then I would also hand over the baby of the rich woman to the poor and wretched woman. I was punishing the rich children simply because they were rich. I thought I was doing the right thing. And that book in your hands was where I recorded their names, date of birth, addresses, names of their parents, and so on. And I continued like this for many years. I'm so sorry, Kayode. Before I knew it, I couldn't control myself. I started to enjoy swapping babies. I swapped babies just for the fun of it. I enjoyed the fact that no one could catch me, and I even began to feel like a god. Anytime any rich pregnant woman was rude to me during antenatal, I would mark their faces, and when it was time for them to deliver their baby, if I was on duty, I would punish them by stealing and swapping their babies. Kayode could not believe his ears. How can you be so wicked and heartless, Mama? How could you do this to people, to almost 3,000 families, Mama? How can you be so wicked? Kayode said, looking disgusted. I'm sorry, my son. I'm really sorry. Please forgive me. I am a changed woman now, Madam Tolu said. So are you trying to say that you were never caught, Mama? And if you were never caught, so what made you finally stop swapping babies? Tell me, Kayode asked. Yes, my son, I was never caught because of my position in the hospital. But I stopped because I started having nightmares. Each time I laid my head to sleep, I would see little children tormenting and pursuing me. So I started looking for a solution. I went from one herbalist to the other, so I could stop being tormented in my dream. And that was when I was told that it was some of the children of the rich who had strong destinies and strong heads, but had died as a result of the poverty of their parents, who could not afford medical care when they fell sick, that they were the ones haunting me, alongside some of the poor children who I had given to rich parents, not knowing that their rich parents were occultic and had used them for money ritual. I searched everywhere for help, but I was told that nothing could be done to help me, that there were too many innocent children crying over my head. I started losing my mind gradually, and that was when I had to go to church and I gave my life to Christ. I thought getting born again would make the nightmare stop, but it did not. But I realized that after asking God to forgive me, and I knew that He did, I felt peace ever since then, despite the fact that I am still tortured at night. But I have accepted that as the consequences of my action, which I would have to live with all the days of my life. But Kayode, I never knew that it would affect you. I never knew. I am so sorry, Madam Tolu said, wailing. Ah, Mama, you have ruined my life. Have you not heard that the sins of the father will be visited on the children? Mama, Kayode said, shouting. Where do I even start from? I wish you were never my mother. You're very wicked. So because your foster mother maltreated you and three girls who were just children at the time bullied you, you decided to ruin the lives of over 3,000 families. Ah, mama, you are wicked oh. You should be dead. What you are going through is not even enough. Now see the curse you have heaped on me and my unborn generation. I will never forgive you. I do not want to have anything to do with you again. From today, you are no longer my mother. I will take this book and go back home and see if I can undo what you have done. But where do I even start from? With over 3,000 children, where do I start? Where do I go? Ah, Kayode said, then stormed out angrily. Kayode, Kayode, please forgive me, Madam Tolu said, running after her son. But Kayode left his mother's house and returned to his home. When Kayode got back home, he told Funmi, his wife, everything that had happened. Funmi was so shocked. She could not believe her ears. Now they knew for a fact that their inability to have children was indeed spiritual. Kayode and Funmi were so devastated. But after a few days of crying, they put themselves together, then decided to hire a private investigator to help in tracking down the children who were now adults. Kayode and Funmi also decided to give their life to Christ, and they became very devoted to God, praying and fasting to see if this foundational curse that their mother's action had placed on them could be broken, so they could have their own children. Madam Tolu, on the other hand, felt so guilty that she stopped taking her pills that kept her awake at night. She no longer wanted to escape the torment of her actions. So every night she would fall asleep and be tortured from 12 a.m. till 4 a.m. And she continued like this for 1 week. And one day, she slept and never woke up. She was dead. Hi besties, hi beautiful people. It's Omalicha here again. Thank you so much for all the love and the support that you have shown my channel so far. I am so excited and I'm grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So the moral lesson of this story is that our actions have consequences. And sometimes the consequences is not just limited to us, but even to our unborn generation. So we need to be careful of things that we do presently. But I would love to hear your thoughts. Do you think that Kayode can really break free from this foundational curse his mother has placed on their lineage? For crying out loud, she swapped over 3,000 children. And if you think that Kayode can be free one day, what do you think he would have to do to regain that freedom or get delivered from that curse? Please share your thoughts with me in the comment section, as someone may learn a thing or two. Someone facing the same situation may learn a thing or two. And please support my channel by subscribing, liking, and sharing with your loved ones. Now, till I come your way again with more interesting stories, bye.